A low, ominous wind whispers through the towering eucalypt forest, casting long, trembling shadows over the cracked, sun-baked earth. The air is heavy, almost electric, as if the world itself anticipates the next heartbeat of danger. Birds scatter in frantic bursts, their calls sharp and urgent, signaling a presence that seems larger than life. In the distance, the faint, almost imperceptible shadow of Harpagornis moorei glides above the canopy wings, spanning wider than any tree below. Its eyes, sharp as obsidian, scan the ground with a predatory patience, every glide a calculated probe into the lives of those who dare walk beneath. Could the earliest humans survive such a predator? How did they learn to see the sky as a threat as well as a canvas of opportunity? The ground trembles under the cautious steps of a small band of hominins, their skin coated in dust, muscles taut, eyes constantly scanning the branches and the gaps between trunks. Fingers grip the crude wooden spear's tips hardened in fire and stone, not yet refined, but lethal in intent. A rustle barely audible stirs the underbrush. A juvenile, curious and fearless, inches toward a low-lying branch, unaware of the unseen watcher above. The adult's eyes snap toward the sky, heads tilting in perfect synchronization, a silent communication honed through countless brushes with death. They freeze, bodies low, hearts hammering, every sense sharp, every nerve strung tight across the narrow line between life and extinction. Suddenly, the massive silhouette arcs downwards, wings slicing the air with a terrifying precision. The humans scatter, leaping behind fallen logs, plunging into shadowed hollows, a choreography of instinctive survival. Spears are raised not with the hope of striking the colossal bird, but as barriers, obstacles to slow its descent. The bird hovers, talons extended, assessing its prey. The smallest hominin, nimble and quick, slips into a thicket, branches scraping skin but offering cover. Above the predator hesitates, calculating its strategy, understanding that this prey does not merely run, it anticipates. Through sheer force of observation and reaction, the humans begin to circle toward higher ground. A rocky ridge, jagged and imposing, offers vantage and sanctuary. One by one, they climb, exploiting every irregularity of the terrain, every jutting stone, every narrow ledge. Their breaths come fast, shallow, a symphony of survival. The Harpagornis moorei follows in wide arcs, testing the limits of gravity, yet never abandoning the hunt. Shadows flicker, branches crack the forest itself, seeming to conspire with both hunter and hunted. How would modern humans fare in such an encounter? Could the reflexes of our ancestors, sharpened by eons of aerial threats, rival the instinctive reactions of our present-day self? As the ridge is reached, the group pauses, a silent understanding passing between them. Spears are planted stones, collected rudimentary traps assembled with whatever scraps nature has left behind. Every action is deliberate, every glance toward the sky weighted with centuries of evolutionary lessons. Their survival is not guaranteed, but their ingenuity, honed by necessity and terror alike, marks the dawn of a new kind of warfare, not just against hunger, but against fear itself. The wind shifts again, carrying the sharp tang of eucalyptus and the faint metallic scent of the predator's feathers. From their vantage on the ridge, the hominins watch the Harpagornis moorei circle wings, casting elongated shadows that ripple over the rocky terrain. Each flap is a calculated display of power, yet it also betrays patterns, pauses in the glide, sudden dives, the silent hunt that has defined the skies for millennia. The human's eyes narrowed, memorize these rhythms, each tilt of the wings, each shadow across the rocks. A lesson in anticipation. They hurl stones not to strike, but to disrupt, creating moments of hesitation in the predator's strike. exploiting instincts that have not yet learned to anticipate human cunning. A subtle sound, snapping twig, draws attention to the edge of the ridge. A hominin stoops, hands steady arranging a crude snare of cordage and sharpened branches. Every motion is precise, honed by instinct yet guided by foresight. The predator dips lower talons, extended claws glinting in the slanting sunlight, and for a heartbeat, the world holds its breath. Then, a sudden clash. The snare snaps taut, a jolt that startles the bird, forcing it to pivot midair. Screeches echo through the valley below a violent vibration that shakes the nerves of all who hear it. The humans exchange glances not of fear, but of understanding. They have not defeated the sky beast, yet they have provoked hesitation, the first tiny crack in the predator's dominance. They move again, stepping carefully along narrow ledges, the ridge rising like a fortress. Below the forest floor is a patchwork of light and shadow, concealing both prey and hazard. The adults guide the juveniles' hands, pressing them low against rock faces, bodies poised for sudden leaps. Spears are gripped in tandem with shielded stances, a dance of survival practiced in silence. From this height, they see patterns. The predator favors open clearings, avoids thick canopy. Using this knowledge, they plan a retreat, a controlled descent toward the protective thickets where the dense undergrowth might impede the bird's size and speed. Every movement is measured, every choice informed by centuries of observation, encoded into instinct. As they descend, the predator adapts, diving in arcs that twist with the wind, forcing the hominins to alter their path continuously. One misstep could mean capture. Yet their bodies respond with a fluidity born of repeated trial muscles, remembering what eyes have seen. Even the smallest hominin, once hesitant, now moves with a courage born of necessity, ducking beneath branches, sliding between rocks, guided by the silent instruction of elders. The forest is alive with tension. Leaves tremble, branches sway, shadows flicker as predator and prey engage in a slow, deadly dialogue. Finally, they reach the cover of the lower forest, dense ferns and ancient trees forming a tangled barrier. The Harpagornis moorei hovers above talons, scraping stone and soil, but unable to navigate the thicket with the same lethal precision. The human's breaths ragged but steadying pause to regroup. Eyes scan the canopy above, hands caress the spear's every heartbeat, synchronized with the predator's movements. They have not conquered the sky. They have learned it, adapted to it, and survived through a combination of ingenuity, speed, and intuition. This primal dance, ancient and relentless, is a testament to the birth of tactical survival, the earliest humans mastering the interface between intellect and instinct, predator and prey. The canopy above quivers fractured light, piercing through gaps in the leaves, painting shifting mosaics across the forest floor. The Harpagornis moorei circles higher now, no longer diving, but observing its massive wings steady in the updraft. For the hominins, this moment is neither victory nor defeat. It is a fragile balance, a reminder that survival is rarely about domination, but about endurance, patience, and the ability to read the landscape like scripture. Their eyes track the bird's orbit, but their bodies remain grounded, pressed to the damp soil, attuned to the vibrations of the earth beneath. This dual awareness, the sky above and the ground below, defines their existence. One of the elders rises slowly, muscles taut but deliberate. He lifts a spear not to throw, but to gesture a silent signal that echoes through the group. They begin to construct a crude barricade with fallen branches, vines, and rocks, weaving the environment into a shield. The act is ritual as much as survival, an ancestral rehearsal of defiance against the colossal hunter. They sharpen stones against stone, the scrape, and spark a rhythm of resistance. Sweat beads across brows, mingling with dust and sap, a tangible record of their struggle etched into flesh. The juvenile watches wide-eyed, absorbing every detail, learning that survival is inherited not only through blood, but through mimicry and memory. The predator makes one final descent, wings folding inward as it cuts through the air with predatory silence. This time the humans do not scatter. They brace behind their barricade spears, angled outward, eyes narrowed with fierce determination. Stones fly, not random, but targeted, disrupting the predator's trajectory. It veers talons raking bark instead of flesh, screeches, filling the air with raw fury. Yet, beneath the noise lies a revelation. The hunter of skies has been denied, not slain, but resisted. This defiance transforms fear into resilience, shifting the balance between predator and prey. The bird ascends again, wings beating heavy with effort, and soon it vanishes beyond the tree line, absorbed by distance and sky. The forest breathes once more, its sounds returning, the hum of insects, the calls of smaller birds, the rustle of hidden creatures. The hominins collapse into stillness, chests heaving, their survival etched into every trembling limb. Yet beneath exhaustion burns something greater, the spark of strategy, the knowledge that cooperation, ingenuity, and shared vigilance can turn the tide against even the mightiest predator. Centuries later, modern humans still live under the gaze of raptors. Eagles circle mountaintops, their dives swift and precise, yet few fear them as their ancestors once did. Instead, we marvel, study, and document, often forgetting the primordial dread their wings once carried. But echoes of that ancient struggle linger in our instincts, the reflex to look up when a shadow passes overhead, the instinct to huddle together when danger looms, the awareness that survival is not just physical, but collective. Life, 7.2 million years ago, was a crucible, where fear of the sky forged resilience on the ground. In defending against Harpagornis moorei, early humans did more than survive a predator. They carved the first lessons of tactical defense, shaping a lineage that would one day stand at the pinnacle of the food chain. What remains is the eternal question: if stripped of modern tools, could we still endure the terror of the skies as they once did? Or have we forgotten how to live with the primal vigilance that once defined our existence?